So, are you ready to become a podcaster on podcast? Download the Anchor app. It's the easiest way to do podcasting and it's also free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's easy. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Good afternoon, beautiful kings and queens, or should I say, it's nighttime, y'all. I pray that y'all have had a blessed and safe day. I pray that everything has went well with you, and even if it hasn't, guess what? You have lived to see a new day. A new night has come, and we're about to enter into a new day on tomorrow. So I'm here with my friend, my brother, Mr. Kevin Lucas. How are you doing?
You still said my name right after all these years. My name has an L in it. It's Calvin. You said Kevin. My name has an L in it.
Calvin Lucas. Calvin Lucas. Excuse me, Mr. Lucas.
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm blessed. What you been up to?
Just remember, I mentioned too long ago, got home, had a JV football game today, but we got to watch the game tomorrow.
Okay. Y'all, Mr. Lucas is a football coach.
Yep. That's correct.
Football coach in Valdosta, Georgia.
I'm coaching Valdosta no more, baby. I remember I live in Valdosta.
Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Moving on up in the world. Okay. Y'all have to forgive us. We have known each other for a very, very long time. This is how we act, y'all. So y'all take it for love now. Okay.
Right.
So Kevin, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I grew up in Blakely, class of 06. Then I went to Valdosta State after high school and been in Valdosta ever since. I'm a school teacher. I teach at Brooks County. I teach at the Delta Innovative Schools. One of the teachers there, and I'm also a pastor of Kingdom Business Delivery Center on the Thomasville campus under the leadership of Bishop Adrian Jarrell Rivers and Pastor Reggie Range, also known in Blakely as Boo. So, those are my guys. But he've been married since 2016, November 19th, 2016. So I've been married almost 4 years. We'll be 4 years in November. And that's about it. I teach, I coach a little bit, have 2 children. And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
This here man here, I tell you the truth, he is also another man that I am so very proud of, how he has changed his life and everything and allowed God to just take over and everything. I'm very proud of you. If don't nobody tell you, I'm telling you. So and
appreciate
tell your
cool.
little wife hello.
She said, hey. She's sitting here with the dog.
Oh, with the dog. Well, wait a minute, Kevin. You didn't tell me I had a dog. What a dog name is now?
Chase. Okay. I'm gonna get a dog one day, but not with the 3-year-old. Right now, she too rough with dogs. Now, poor dog might be. I come home, the dog supposed to be dead. Yeah.
Oh, have mercy, Jesus. That'll go rough. So, Kevin, could you tell us about what are some of the pros and cons you would say of marriage?
Pros and cons of marriage. Which one you want first?
Either one you want to give it to, bro.
Pros and cons of marriage. I'll talk about the pros. Pros. Well, I just talked about them both collectively. So,
Oh,
in a marriage, it's a teamwork. It's kind of very similar to to basketball and to any other sport that you think of. Everybody on that team is on that field, on that court, has a specific job, and you and your spouse has a specific job, and it changes sometimes by the day, sometimes by the minute, and sometimes even by the second. But whatever the assignment is, whatever task that you have to get done, you have to be able to communicate. So as long as you and your spouse are communicating, everything's good. Now, the con comes in at when sometimes you don't see eye to eye. So some of the cons is understanding the growth. I would say growth is the pro and a con. Because just like when we was younger, in our younger years, growing, we have growing pains, and sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't feel good. But being able to withstand, being able to endure, being able to love each other unconditionally through all of it, that's a pro to it. I mean, being able to come home and you have somebody that has your back through your worst times, through thick and thin, through your best times, and they're going to support you regardless. That's comforting. And it's able to know that, yes, I know that this person is here for me and I'm here for that person. So having that assurance is something that's very, very valuable and vital to adulthood. Having somebody that you can rely on, that you can confide in, or having somebody that has the same interests in some things that you have, and having somebody that can be able to withstand your growing pains and you withstand theirs. So one of the pros, like I said, pros and cons is the growth period, that growth session. So yeah, it's a little bit of both.
yes, I can agree with that. I remember, if you don't have no communication, you got yourself a world of mess.
Oh yeah, that's a definite. Yeah, that's a definite. Communication is key.
Man, because when I was married, that communication just all out the window. It just went up on that bed. Just all out the window. We couldn't talk to each other. If you saw us in that room together, we could not. We tried to talk. First it got to there. We just couldn't talk to each other. But of course, I was an immature person. I was a grown girl. As Tony Gaskin say, I was not a grown woman. I was still a grown girl, and I thought I just knew everything and could go out here and do anything, everything, and it don't work like that.
Right.
So I have learned as well that when you in a marriage, it takes work. It takes two people, and I tell people all the time, make sure you get married for the right reasons. Don't get married for the wrong reasons, because God knows I got married for all the wrong reasons. And it was just pure, I wouldn't say a fail, it was just a lesson learned.
Yeah, it's a lesson learned, correct.
All right, so now that you are married, you have been married, do you and your wife, do y'all still date?
Shoot, yeah. Every week. Shoot, yeah, that's a definite. Our date night, yeah. Through our premarital sessions, done by Bishop Rivers, Adrian Rivers, that was one of the things that we found out that was very imperative to our relationship. You have to date, and we do date night every week now. Since I'm coaching sports now, usually our date night usually is Thursdays. Because my wife is a branch manager at Enterprise, so she usually gets I'm not gonna say she gets off. Well, she's supposed to get off by around 6-ish, but depending on how her job work, you know how it is, she may come over a little later. And since I work out of town, I work in Quitman, like I said, but I live in Valdosta. I have to commute, and so on Thursdays I usually don't get home since we have a JV game by around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and she's a part of a radio show and stuff like that on Thursday. So we usually do date night once a week. So sometimes we may do it Monday, sometimes we may do it Saturday or whatever. But I always, even now that I do premarital counseling now, I always tell couples that your date night ain't got to be anything extensive. We have dated over cheeseburgers and fries from McDonald's. We have bought steak. We have did crabs. We have maybe even have chips, Reese's cup. I mean, but it's what you do in the
Right.
important thing about it is, you have to date because we have a business that we run together. And of course, she's a part of the church as I am. Her job is very demanding and everything like that. But we put all that to the side. We put all that to the side. We don't talk about no money, no budget, no business, no nothing. We just really find out. She finds out more about me. I find out more about her. It's an individual. It's a Calvin and vote thing. That's what it is, and that's the imperative thing we do it. Now, what are we eating, or whether we're eating something, that really doesn't matter. It's just that moment in our week that we take out to dive more into each other, to find out more about each other, because we have a model with each other. We don't go to bed until we find out something more about each other. So each day we are growing deeper and deeper into each other to find out more about each other. So we just take that time out to do that. And sometimes it's an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 30 or 45 minutes. But we do, each week we plan a day, say, hey, okay, today's going to be our date night. And then usually now we'll go somewhere and sit down and maybe get some to go and eat it in the car or something like that, just take a little time out. But as a married couple, remember, God says you are one. So think about what would happen if your left toe didn't do what your right toe did. If your left foot didn't do what your right foot did. Or when you're walking, if your right foot went wrong the one way, your left foot went the other way. I mean, you have to work as one unit. And so that's our way to make sure that we're complete is in one unit. And so, yeah, we date every week. Every week.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Cal and Vo, yes, I love it. And I love the fact you say it don't matter where y'all go date it, because some people. But I want to go to the crab house tonight because we didn't go last week. And I'm telling you, they got to put an emphasis. Dating is just long as y'all get that time in.
Yeah, we get that time. That's exactly what we do. And we have to.
Love it. So, how long did y'all date before y'all actually became married?
4 years. Yeah, 4 years. 2012 to 2016. 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I proposed. I proposed on January 16th, and we got on 2016, and then we got married November 19th, 2016.
Okay. That's what's up. I like that. So in your opinion, you think it took the 4 years for y'all to actually get together and set a date and get married and everything?
No, that's the they say that's the kicker. That's the Achilles heel of a lot of relationships, especially African American or Black relationships, and being I would say the younger generation and the middle age generation, that's the kicker, because a lot of people set time frames and time limits. When I met Vo, I knew year one that I was going to marry. Okay, I knew that off rip. I already knew that. It wasn't no doubt in my mind. There was no other female that I wanted to be with more than her. Now, some people may be asking that, listen, well, how in the darn world it took you 3 more years to figure it out? Well, I'll tell you. Well, I had 2 children before I got with Vo, so I was trying to make sure, because I'm a very structured person, so I don't want to make sure I don't want to come into no mess, no drama and all that. So in my head, I was trying to make sure everything was straight on my end. But each and every day we was growing closer and closer to each other. The thing a lot of men mess up at is they'll tell a lady, yeah, we want to get married, but you're not showing her that. You're not changing anything. That your ways should change. You should find out more about that woman as much as possible. You should do different stuff in month 4 that you did in month 6. I mean, in month 6 that you did in month 4. You should go more and more each day. So I constantly told her, and I told her that, said, yeah, we're going to get married. This is what I'm trying to do. I was up front. And I said, this is what I want to do before we actually get to the marriage point. So a lot of things we did together. We grew together. And honestly, as a man, I'm a teacher, but I didn't have a teaching job when I first met her. I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So as a man, as the Bible teaches a man to do, which is be the head of his household, I wasn't in any type of position to do that. And so I didn't want to just go ahead on and go to the courthouse and get married, and then, you know, finances coming and we can't pay light bill and all this other stuff like that. So we waited until we got in position. I waited until I got in a good position where I could support and be the head that I needed to be. But as far as us in the relationship, I mean, I wasn't trying. I had stopped everything. You know, it was us. It was me involved. That's what it was. We did stuff, and we took our time to do that. Now, the other side to that is don't move too fast. You know, I'm not saying we met in 2011. We start officially dating in 2012. I'm not saying you in 2013 you automatically trying to move in and trying to combine bank accounts and all that. No, that's not what we grew to that point. We allowed ourselves time to get to that point. Yes, I knew that I wanted to marry her. Yes, I do. And yes, she wanted to marry me. However, there was still some things about each other that we needed to know. We need to understand. So things, something simple stuff like, how do you spend money? What do you value? What are your wants? What are your needs? What's a lot of money to you? What's a good number in your bank account? You know, what's that number in your bank account when you look at it and say, oh my God, I ain't got no money? You know, I mean, stuff like that. What are your habits? So we start talking about things like that, and we start living with things like that. And I start to notice certain things. I start to notice, she started to notice certain things about me. And so the whole time, even though we were still dating and we were still boyfriend and girlfriend, we were still on the path to be husband and wife. You know what I'm saying? So that still didn't change. And so once God gave me the okay, I was like, okay, then what? Yeah, let's do it this year. And that's what happened. And so, that's what it was. So it's not necessarily a time frame. You can't be like, you know, I know a lot of women, like, if a man ain't want to marry me in 2 years, he waited too long. That's not necessarily true. Don't put a number on it. Put a feeling on it. That's what you do. You don't put a number on it. Put the plan on it. If as long as it is a part of the plan that you all set in the communication, then the numbers really don't matter. Numbers don't matter. So yeah, but it was 4 years.
Okay. I like how you did that. That's different. That's what's up. Cause I'm telling you, some of us have stayed there 5 years, ain't had no plan and nothing else together.
Yeah, you need to do something. You need to move something after that. Now if you still boyfriend and girlfriend after, that's why somebody need to make a move. Somebody need to do something. But it should. Yeah, it should feel different though. You see what I'm saying? It should feel different. And one thing I admire about my wife, she's a very spiritual person. She grew up spiritual. She grew up 100% Christian, and so we stayed in girlfriend boyfriend territory. That's what we did. You know, when I proposed and she accepted, then that's when we moved toward fiance territory. Then that's when we start going to the bank, looking at combining accounts, looking at stuff like that, start having an even in-depth more conversation. A lot of people, what happens is especially with the females, because it's historically proven that women will fall quicker than a man will. So a man's thinking a woman is in girlfriend, that's my lady, that's my girlfriend, that's my woman. But the woman is looking at the man as the husband. And so what happens is she ends up taking the back seat, and the man was like, oh my God, she catered to me and she just my girlfriend. And so that's why a lot of times it's a lot easier for the man to move forward than the woman, because now the woman is invested. She's bought in. And the man like, shoot, I'm still trying to scout. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to look and see. I'm not all in just yet. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I warn a lot of younger couples, like, hey, take your time. Take your time. Because make sure that you're able to take it through the steps. Take time to date. There's nothing wrong with talking. Don't start, hey, we talking in Monday, and now y'all going together. A month later, y'all dating, and then 3 or 4 months later, you talking about you trying to marry somebody. Slow down. Slow down. Okay, just slow down, because you don't never know anything about that person. You know, you got to find out about the person.
I'm telling you to go on a date Monday. You done laid up with Johnny. You done love Johnny. Now you say Johnny your boo thing, and then Johnny over there talking about, yeah, I got her where I want her. Y'all on 2 different wavelengths. 3 months later, you talking about you and Johnny together. Johnny ain't said no such of a thing.
And now you trying to not Johnny living at the high.
Yeah,
Y'all sharing cell phone bills and see he got the
Johnny,
food
that's his
stamp card.
residence,
Ain't
baby.
got time for that. No. He know the
Okay.
PIN number to all your cards, all your bank accounts, all that. No.
Hey,
Slow
riding
down.
that car picking you up late
Right.
from work.
Yeah. Slow down. Slow down. Let Johnny walk how he been walking.
They're right.
He walked in your life, he can walk out too. Until you get himself set. Yeah, understand.
They're right. You
and
walking.
and that's another thing. And that's one thing I knew about my wife, because when I met her, I had graduated, because I graduated, I'm 2 years older than she is. I graduated 2011, she graduated 2012. So I was already in my career field before she was. But I didn't belittle her. I mean, I was making a decent living, and I was making like $25 an hour, and she was still like at 9. But I didn't go through and just start giving them my card and things like that. We understood the value of $1. Now it's wow. Now she makes way more money than me because she works for a Fortune 500 company. Because she works for Enterprise. It's a multi-billion-dollar a year profit company. I'm a teacher. So she bring over a lot. Her check look a lot different from mine. So men have to understand that it's a process. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. It's just like preheating the oven. Like I told a student the other day, if you don't put the sugar in a cake, and you can still bake that cake, but you can make a good cake all you want to put everything in it. And if you don't preheat the oven, the cake ain't gonna get baked. You got to make sure you go through the steps and don't negate the steps.
That's right. That is so true. I love it. So, in your words, Kevin, describe equally yoked.
Well, equally yoked is when you are able to understand and gather what the other person is doing. A lot of people think unequally yoked it's like a balance beam. Okay, sometimes as a man, as a husband, and I'm describing it as a husband and wife way. As a husband, sometimes people like to say, I think Luther Vandross son that 50-50 son, 60-40, all that what type of love. In a marriage, you can't necessarily say everything gonna be 50-50. Sometimes it's gonna be 60-40, sometimes it's gonna be 70-30. However, as a husband, you have to understand what your wife can handle at that time. And your wife needs to understand what she can support you through at that time. So as long as she understands her position and the man understands his position, then you're both equal. Because what the scriptures tell the man to do is to be the leader. As a leader, my job responsibility is a lot different from the follower. All I ask you to do is just do your job. I'll take care of the other part. So equally yoked, as long as you're able to pull your part, keep your side of the balance being balanced. Okay?
That's right.
And it's good. Now, as a man, you may look and say, hey, my wife is having a tough time. So you, even if she already got 20%, you got 80%, you go get 10% of hers. And you carry 90%. And don't get mad because she carrying 10%, because sometimes you might can't have a 60%, now she got 40%. And so you can't really just say 50-50. You have to look at everything as one unit. Again, as a team, as one unit, and operate that. So equally yoked is everybody's able to take care of their business equally. Not necessarily a workload, but whatever their job is, to do it to the best of their ability equally.
Yes, I love that. Yes. So, in your 4 years of marriage, right? Have y'all had any struggles in the past or anything like that don't mind sharing? And if y'all get past that, y'all got to be so blessed or something.
No, I'm not gonna do. Listen, I ain't look. One of the first things that all marriages gonna struggle with is growth and finances. Excuse me. Unless you end up marrying a first round draft pick or something, but it's still gonna be a lifestyle change. And I tell people all the time, you have to understand that the woman that you marry as a man, This woman has never ever seen this woman before, because the woman is constantly growing and maturing, and you are constantly growing and maturing. So you have never seen each other in that state before, And so a lot of people think, oh, I'm marrying this person, because the woman that Vo was in 2016 is nowhere near the woman she is now in 2020. She's older, she's wiser, she's more competent, and she's more aware of things. Vice versa with me. I'm totally different. So I didn't know, I'd never seen this man in 2016. I didn't know exactly where I was going to be mentally in 2020. I knew where I wanted to be, but even so, I'm living it now. So she has never seen that. So she has to adjust some things. And I have to adjust some things. So that growth area is what a lot of people, you get that thing about, oh, man, she didn't do that my first year married. Now she acting funny. No. So now she acting funny. She just growing. And certain things is different now. And finances, because you are growing to as in one person. I mean, most men has never ever lived with a woman before. Living with your mama and living with your wife, two different things. I mean, your mama older, so she do things different. A younger person do. Just like y'all living, even if you live with a brother or your daddy, living with a man is two totally different things. Sure. Think about it. You grew up your whole life in your household, so you have been trained to do things the way your household works. And he did the same thing. And now y'all both bring two different upbringings into one household. Some stuff y'all ain't gonna agree on. Some things that you think is a big deal, one a big deal to him, and vice versa. And it works the same way with a man. So finances is a different way. It's one way. I mean, especially with African Americans, with black people, we grow up differently, learning the value of a dollar.
Yes, and
what most guys don't realize is it takes a lot for a woman to keep herself up. It takes a lot. It's gonna take a lot more than a guy. I mean, you got hair, you got nails, you got eyelashes, you got hairspray, you got different deodorant, you got body spray. You got one perfume for this day, one perfume for that day. You got one type of tissue. Got a face rag, got a body rag, got a face seal. I mean, it's like it's all type of stuff that you gotta go.
You already.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot for her. And then don't let her dabble in makeup. That's a whole nother hour that you got to figure out. But and see that type of stuff, a lot of guys don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. I'm like, all right, why it take her so much to get ready? Because I mean, it's different for a man. It's different for a female. She just can't throw on no jeans and some J's on a shirt and a hat, and and then that's it. You can't just do that.
So y'all gonna be looking like, ooh.
Exactly. So for her to keep that appearance up that we want as a man and as her man, then it takes a little bit. It takes a little while. So finances is one of those things that go through that, because I mean, most men ain't gonna realize the importance of getting your toes and feet done every 2 weeks or every month, and keeping your hair did. Most guys don't know that, and I didn't really realize that, because my mama ain't my mama. I thought all that stuff was how I make. My mama, Angela Lucas, she worked at a paper mill. You know it. My mama didn't care about all that. My mama didn't go to no nail shop. I mean, she got her hair washed and perm like every other month. And everybody, she cut the split ends and kept rolling. That's about all she did.
Okay.
She didn't do no makeup. She put a little powder on her face and rolled out. I ain't know about all they got to get nails done, all that. However, when I got with Vo, she's nails done, feet done, hair did. But you remember, she's a branch manager, so she's in corporate America. So she can't just go in with her hair all over her head. She got to make sure the other stuff is laid every day. Every day. And that stuff costs. And buying business suits and pocketbooks and earrings to match this suit and necklaces to match. Yeah. It's different. It's different. And so understanding that about it was one of the struggles. But after our first year, I mean, we started off with a little bit of rockiness with the finances, and we weren't like ready to get kicked out of anything like that. But as a younger person, we like to have a little bit more extra money in the bank account. It feels good when your check coming in on that Friday. You look in your bank account, you got $200 or $300 in there. All right, good, I'm good. It's a lot different when you look at that bad boy, got 20 cents in that bad boy.
Okay.
And so, and so we were like, wait a minute. And so then I started as a man, I'm like, well, God, dog, now I'm used to having more money in my bank account. how is this working?
Hey, look,
Because
ugly.
exactly, because you know, remember, I stayed by myself. We didn't shack. Stayed by myself. I paid my light bill, and I paid my water bill. I paid my own internet, my own direct TV, all that stuff like that. I had my own stuff. So when she moved, I'm thinking, well, shit, I'm finna get some of these bills off me. But I didn't think about that I ain't got. She had to pay for hairdo and all this other stuff like that. So I'm like, well, God, dog, how this stuff still? I'm losing money. How in the world? And then that's not even talking about the tissue. Jesus Christ. Never knew women use so much tissue.
That's right.
But I'm like, God,
don't do that.
God, and I always make this joke in a marriage. Finances are important because somebody got to buy the toilet tissue. Somebody got to buy it. It ain't coming. It just ain't gonna come out. Well, if you order it, now it'll come to your house. But somebody got to buy the toilet tissue and the paper towel. Somebody got to buy it. I mean,
right.
You got to figure this out some kind of way. Somebody got to buy the wash powder and deodorant, and you got to buy this stuff. And underwear, and oh Lord, I didn't know. I didn't even know how expensive a good bra was. I'm like, God,
you did.
And don't have no nice size chest. God, you can't even go to different stores. You got to go to the Lane Bryant and stuff. Man, I come out like shoes.
Right. I love Lane Bryant.
I'm like, man, I want that stuff. That lady said, I said, how much? That's a pair of jeans. You talking about for a bra? Hey, you kidding me? I want two of them. I get brown and a black one. Oh my God. That just made me so mad, man. I'm like, Jesus. But you know what I'm saying? I had to learn that type of stuff. I'm like, I ain't going with my mom buying no bras. Shoot, I thought you could go to Walmart. You can't go to Walmart. Everybody can't go to Walmart. I didn't know that.
We can't do Walmart. No,
I didn't know that.
Gotta go to
I didn't know that.
that.
So I'm like, but that stuff matters. But you know, we laugh about it now. Like that first year, I'm like, what? You got to do that? I got to do this? Why? But I wasn't. I wasn't upset. I was eager to learn because I knew we had what we did. But so now, because we did our first 2 years of marriage, every Tuesday we had a business night where we look at our money and be like, okay, this is what we doing. What's coming out? What's coming this? What's coming this? What's doing this? What's doing this? What's doing this? What's doing this? And we did it every Tuesday for the first 2 years of marriage. And then, you know, now we are blessed enough. Now we got 98% of our bills coming out of automatic draft. You know, boom, they just come out. And then we don't even necessarily worry about it. We got things different, how it's comfortable for us. You know, and you know how it is with children. You know, my daughter 10 and my son 8, so they going out of pants every Thursday. I'm like, God, no, you still growing.
Kevin, I'm sorry. You just scratching the surface with this boy. You try buying a pair of shoes for a 15-year-old. This boy wear 9.5 in men. So you imagine how my pockets be.
Oh yeah, and he 15. You can't go buy the $5. You got to go buy the forces.
No, dude, no. We're talking about forces.
You got to go buy the forces. Yes, sir. You got to buy the good day.
Hey.
The retro.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I spent 120 plus on every.
Oh, that's a good deal. 120. That's a good deal.
120, and God forbid, don't let the bill. Well, how much? 200.
Oh, yeah.
God.
That's how it is. But see, and you know, with me, I had that too. You know, like children, school clothes, and all that stuff like that. And now my child 10, so I got to go bra shopping for her. So I'm like, oh, golly. Yeah. So now it's that growing stage, but we had to grow to that point. And so we didn't get frustrated. We understood, okay, it's like an alert. You know, like if you got an alarm system and you walk through your door, it'll be like, okay, you got an alert going on. It's an alert. Like, hey, this is something you need to check out. Mm-hmm. And now we own a business and we do a business account and all that stuff like that. Now we understand. And now I know both tendencies. Now I know I love her there, but she's an Amazon Prime shopper. Good God Almighty. And so yes. I know her tendency. So when I come home and see a bop, it is what it is. I trust her to know that she ain't going crazy. So,
yes, we love Amazon Prime.
She got that one. What is that one click? Oh my God! I just see a box. I see the box today when I got home. What this box doing? What is this? But that's just. But you have to, as a younger couple, I would really date night and bill night and money night. You need to have those. At least at the bare minimum. Date night every week, but you like running your money, looking at your finances, at least twice a month. Because you have to understand how that person is. You know, you really have to understand. I mean, even down to how they eat. I mean, we know, like I know now my wife is an appetizer person. We'll go to Applebee's and she'll order some cheese sticks and order entree and probably order dessert too if she wants it. And that's fine. And so me going to Applebee's, I know that's a $55, $65 a night. Cause automatically just for two people. Cause she gonna order the cheese sticks. I'm gonna order the wings. She probably gonna get a steak. I'm gonna get a steak too. She gonna get loaded mashed potatoes. I'm gonna get loaded mashed potatoes too. Double order. She got to pay double price for the loaded mashed potatoes, and she probably gonna get like the brownie thing, and I'm gonna get the little Oreo milkshake, which be busted. And then she got lemonade, and I got a Sprite or a Sierra Mist, depending on which Applebee's we go to. So that's a $65 a night. So I already know that.
Yeah.
But you have to learn that type of stuff. But you have to really understand something. I mean, I've seen the time we couldn't go to Applebee's and spend that. We might have to go to McDonald's and spend $5 a night. But that's in the growing. But that's one of the things that we really. That was one of our tougher times because that's what it was, understanding each other's spending habits, what the needs was, what the wants was, stuff like that. But it was, I thank God that it didn't last long. It lasted like, we figured it out within the first year. By the time we was married for a full year, our 1 year anniversary came around, we had a down pat. We had a down pat. And then she was blessed to get a promotion on her job, and I was blessed to get a promotion on my job. But then we started living. We kept the same means that we were living at. Even though we had more money, we lived at the same means. And then now, our bank account started looking like what we want our bank account looking like. Now we move.
Right.
So yeah.
All right, I love it. So we already know that y'all are two spiritual people. Y'all pray. So that is wonderful. You got to pray these days, y'all. If y'all want to make it, I'm just gonna tell you. See how you gonna make it without prayer. I just don't see no way without making it without prayer. What do you think makes a successful marriage?
Oh, communication is number one. That's number one. And here it is. It's not just communication, but not just only communication, but being able to communicate in all different kinds of weather. When you're upset, when you're happy, when you're in pain, when you're mad at the person on your job, or when you're mad at your spouse. You still got to communicate. You cannot shut down. There's just something you can't do.
Right.
Even if you're upset, you cannot shut down. And that's one of the things that made our marriage as successful as it is, and I thank God for it that we do communicate. And that's just what works for us. I mean, we was blessed enough to get we have one house, blessed enough to get another one. So even when we were looking at the house that we're in now, we were looking at two different ones, and we wanted a different than the one that we actually got. But when this became available, they called me about it. I said, oh, okay. And the guy wanted me to come look, sign the paperwork, do everything right then. I said, no, I can't do that. I said, I got to have my wife, and we got to come by, we got to see it together. Because I got to see how she feels about it. Right. Even though we knew we wanted to look, but that's what came up. So we know each other like that, that what we have to do and things like that. So we really know each other, and we can really feel each other's pain. And there are times where I text her in the middle of the day, you okay? She's like, nah, I ain't doing too good right now, or I'm upset right now. And I'm like, well, just take a minute, chill, stuff like that. Or I'll call out the couple. Just like that. She do me the same way. Like I can feel, you can really feel that, because as a wife, you are your husband's support system. And I tell people all the time, understand what you are his real. I understand what the real protects. The real protects the heart. That's the vital organ of the body. And so that's one part of it. The other part of it is you are his support. You are his structure. You help him stand upright. And so he has to be able to feel that support 24/7. I mean, whether you're sick in all the ways, whenever he gets ready to walk boldly and walk upright, you have to be there to support him. And so I oftentimes talk to her about what's going on in my head, how I'm doing something. I don't make a decision without including her in it. And even with me changing jobs, because I was working in Valdosta, now I'm working in Brooks County. Even when I felt like that I need to go to a different school district, I talked to her. I was like, this is what I'm feeling. Pray on it for a couple of weeks. Come back. We'll talk about it later on. And then when we came back to talk about it, doing one of our date nights things, we took a little time to talk about it over the appetizer. I said, this is what God told me. Boom, 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 boom. And she said, well, this is what he told me. And we made an agreement. So this is what I was going to do. That's what works for us. And I'm not saying that's the blueprint. It's a good outline, but that's what works for us, because that's how we communicate. And even the people, some of the married couples that's in our church ask us, like, how are we so connected? It's because of that. But see, Candace, this started in 2000. This just started in 2016. This started in 2012. So we've been communicating like this 8 years. It's been what we always did. What we always did. I mean, when I first married, I was working in Madison, Florida. And so, when I got ready to come to Valdosta to work in Valdosta, I always lived in Valdosta. Did the same thing. And, I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. What you think about? So we don't make any decision. Any big time monumentous decision without even talking to each other first. That's just what we do. So communication is definitely key. And there have been times I know some things that I do that can really piss her off. And she knows some things that she can do to me to piss me off, but she knows what to do to make it up. And you need to know that person like that. I always tell guys, if you can, can you go to your female and piss her off, and 5 minutes later she'll be okay? If you can't, then you ain't got a good relationship with her, because you got to know what to do that. Because we are emotional. Men is an emotional creature, and women are emotional creatures. That's what it is. So if you come in the house having a bad day, you need to know what to do to pick them up, and vice versa. And you don't have to say, I'm having a bad day. Yes, he should just know. Sometimes he should just know. Sometimes she should just know. Okay, and so that's communication is number one, and you work on it by dating and talking and listening. And I mean, there were times where I just would talk and she would just listen, and she would repeat back to me what I said, and be like, and did I hear that correctly? Be like, yeah, and then she'll tell me what she's processing, and vice versa. Don't just have a conversation. You literally are talking and figuring out things. So you have to communicate. You have to talk. But we're 8 years in this thing, so even though we've been married for 4 years, it looks a lot different. It looks a lot different. People think that we've been married a longer time because of the way we communicate, because of the way we look, because of the way we just look at each other and smile, and I know this and I know that, and that's just how we do it. But I can truly say that she was created to be my support. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. When God formed Vo, and he formed me, he formed us together as one. And so I knew that when I first met her. So that's when you know you got the right one, when you can truly understand that this is the person that was created to be my support and be my connection. Then you know you got you something special.
Amen. Like that, you done dropped all kind of gems on here. I gotta go back and take some notes.
You started crazy. You know me.
I'm just saying, it's just so much knowledge and stuff, especially coming from a married person, because I mean, me personally, I could like, oh man, that's awesome. I'm telling you, because I'm quiet because I'm learning some stuff, and I'm gonna have my notebook tonight. I take notes.
That's right. Cool. Take notes, cool. Well, look at God.
You got to take notes. You got to take notes, because the last question, like, what advice can you give? You done gave so much advice, because it's just a lot of information. It's a lot of knowledge. I mean, I said I'm gonna have to go back and play this over because it's a bunch of notes I can take off of this right here that he was saying. I mean, I'm
Well,
telling you
I
for
always,
real.
Candace, I always tell people, like I say, I don't mind sharing the wisdom that God has bestowed upon me. A little bit more about me. My mom and my dad got divorced when I was in 7th grade, and I was in seventh grade, and my mom never did get remarried. My dad did. My dad got remarried about my senior year of high school, I think. But I mean, it wasn't. We didn't have no big time. I mean, you know me at that time when I was in 7th grade. I ain't had no big time. It didn't affect everybody. I mean, it is what it is. It happened, so we kept moving. But I often talked to my mom about that, and stuff like that. So when I told her that I was wanting to getting real close with Vo and wanting to marry Vo, she told me, she said, "Son, I can't teach you what you need to know as a man. You need to go find you some married people." And at the time, Pastor Raines, he wasn't married yet, and Bishop Rivers wasn't married yet. But now we know Boo married now, and my Bishop just got engaged. He's gonna get married next year. So I actually had to find me a group of men that was married. So what I did was, luckily, even though I dated her for 4 years, I had been around her family since day one. And so her mom and daddy is married. And so I actually went to her dad for advice, because I said, shoot, I get the best of both worlds. Vo grew up mainly around her mom, because the special thing about her mom and her dad got divorced when she was younger, but they got remarried later on in life. So right around the time me and her met in 2012, her dad was coming back into the picture a little bit. So I said, shoot, I get the best of both worlds. So he understands who Vo brought up to be, because she was raised with her mom mainly. So she got all the tender stuff from mama. So I might as well go to somebody that know the mama. So that's what I did. So he talked to me about it, and he's an elder in Church of God in Christ, and her mama is a minister as well. So she's been raised in the church her whole life. And so I actually talked to him about that. How is it being a leader, a prominent leader in a church, in a ministry, and carrying all this stuff and working and doing all that? So I took him and another one of my spiritual guidance, which was Mr. Jeffrey. He's a guy. He's also a pastor in Thomasville. I talked to him about that. So I did my own husband seminar on my own. I did my research. My bishop did our premarital counseling. He told us all of the biblical concepts and stuff like that. But the actual, what do you do about this? What do you do about financing? How do you do this? How do you do that? When do you do this? When should you do this? When should you do that stuff? Outside of all the biblical stuff, I went through my own personal thing, because that's what I do. I need it. And so what you hear now is the knowledge of about 7 or 8 different people. And of course, the knowledge of what the Holy Ghost bestowed upon me as I started getting in the marriage portion of it. So, and if I could give any last advice, I would always say, take your time. take your time. We went through that. I used to always reassure Vo all the time. I said, look, I mean, I don't want you to have no bad feelings about people knowing we were together. We was a couple now. We was in Valdosta. Everybody knew we were dating. Everybody knew her. She's from Valdosta. So it'd been just like me going back to Blakely and she going to Bainbridge College and marrying me. Everybody know me, but not her. So vice versa, everybody knew her, but not me. You know what I'm saying? So they just like, who are you? What are you? Remember, she's been up and all that stuff like that. And I came in kind of on a bad end a little bit, because she been preaching sermons since she been like 14. And so I come in with her with 2 kids. They're like, whoa, wait a minute, you talking to him? That's not how it's supposed to work. I'm a college graduate. I'm in a fraternity, 2 fraternities and stuff like that. I'm coming in with 2 kids. I'm like, oh, he a college kid. So people looking at me like, wait a minute, you sure you want to talk to him? So I got a little bit of the black folk church eyes a little bit, because she was the golden, right? I already know, the golden child, and I understood why. But her family never did show me. They never did show me. They were like, oh, okay, well, everybody did what it is. So they adopted me in, and we talked and stuff like that. But I always tell people, look, don't hear all that stuff outside. Don't let the outside people control your marriage. Sometimes you gotta put that stuff down. Don't listen to that noise. Gotta put that stuff down. Okay, like don't let all that stuff affect you. And I told her, I said, look, I know by the rule I'm taking too long. Okay, I know I'm taking too long, but I'm not doing the thing. But I'm constantly showing you that I'm trying to get myself together into a point where I know this we ready to get married now. It wasn't the fact that if I was gonna marry, it was we was ready to get married.
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. That's the difference in the question. A lot of people ask, are y'all gonna get married? We knew we were getting married because we were waiting until both of us were in a stable position to get married. That's the key. You got to be in a position to get married and understand to be able to take on something else. You know, because when they say I now pronounce you man and wife, and when you lose your identity somewhere as a woman and gain the identity of the man and you walk as that leader, that's a different concept. So you have to make sure that as a woman that you're ready to support that man through all those wedding vows, and as a man, you got to make sure that you're able to lead that woman, and you can't lead her down the road, because if you lead her wrong, then that blood on your hands. And so I had to make sure that I was able to accept that responsibility. So I went through a year and a half of straight conversations, telephone conversations, because I want to make sure that I had all my I's dotted, all my T's crossed, because I knew whenever I said I do, I ain't saying I ain't. I'm not saying I ain't. So I gotta finish it. And I knew I had a daughter that was looking up to me, and I had a son that was looking up to me. So I didn't want to have a bad marriage. So I gotta make sure the foundation is set. So take time to build your foundation. You ain't got to necessarily listen to all that stuff, all that junk like that, all that rah-rah stuff. You ain't got to do all that, and talk and communicate. If anybody does those three things, then you will be able to understand and know, A, if this person is the person that I'm supposed to marry. B, is it the right time to get married? Because sometimes you may be with the person you're supposed to be with, but it ain't the right time. There's no possible way me and Vo would have been as stable as we are now if we got married in 2013. It wouldn't work. it just wouldn't work. I mean, we would have still been married, but we would have went through a lot more rocky places, because it just wasn't the time yet. So understand and just take your time, and take your time to daily. It's a daily work. I tell people all the time, that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and he does that daily. So if he's willing to wake up daily to kill, steal, and destroy, that means you got to be able to live. You got to be able to protect. You got to be able to push all through that. And so that's what I do with my marriage every day. When I wake up, I'm doing those three things constantly, because the devil ain't sleeping. The devil ain't taking no risk. So I'm willing to bow as long as he's willing to stay there. And so that's what you got to do.
That's right. His job. He gonna stay on his job 24/7.
And I'm willing to do that. That's just how I am. I'm willing to do that, and that's what you got to do as a man. So, but you got to be willing to take on those responsibilities. And if you are unsure that you can't take on those responsibilities, then you need to wait. Don't marry for no chick or no house or no car or no sex. Don't marry for that. I know the word say it's better to marry than to burn. It does say that's true, but hey,
it's true.
But there's a lot more than look to tell now. Trust me. That's right, but still, that's what it is.
I'm telling you, they gonna run out. Tell them they're gonna run out. Man, Kevin, I have enjoyed.
Here you go with my name again.
Don't you listen? I've been you forever today. Don't start me. That's just what
Jesus, they Jacob and Candy. Early.
Don't start. But I have enjoyed this. It's so much knowledge and stuff just been dropped. Y'all gotta listen to this podcast again, because I'm gonna listen to it again, because I already told you I got my notebook ready to write.
I got you.
Okay, I gotta take up some notes. I got to. I'm telling you, I appreciate you so much. I really do. Tell Bo, God bless y'all. Thank
You
y'all
know,
so
anytime,
much.
man. She was
I really appreciate
she listened to
it.
somebody. If you want to call her and get her perspective from a woman's side, feel free. She's more willing to do it. I mean, it's nothing. You family. You know how it is. You family, so just let me know.
Oh, don't worry me hitting you up. Be hitting up. Don't
I
worry.
got you. I got you
Don't
doing
worry.
good on your podcast too. Good. I've been listening to some of the stuff when I found out about what Anchor was, because I didn't know Anchor was on there, but I've been doing on the Apple podcast. That's what I do. So I'm like,
okay, yeah, I've been using Anchor. Yes, this is what I do. But y'all have a good night. Y'all have a blessed night. Good night, my beautiful kings and queens. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.